keep one in Maine, they have to be 3 1/4 inches long. And you measure them with a gauge like this. Okay, and you measure from the eye socket, and you come straight down. That's a short baby. This end of the gauge has to be up on what's called the carapace, the body, like that. If it goes down over, even if it jams on there, that's too small. And you
Throw him back. It's too little.
Okay, I'll use this model to show you how the traps work so you can all see a little better. In fact, this is probably the last wooden trap you're going to see unless it's for sale in a gift shop somewhere. Most people are going to wire. Right? The main reason is a wood trap that size weighs too much. They're made out of oak and soaking wet, that's about 80 pounds, but they fish the same way. Right now, the bait we use is herring, sardines. You put it in bags or cups down this end of the trap. Now they'll smell that and they'll crawl up this ramp to get at it and they fall inside. All right, they can get back out through that hole, but it's difficult. So what you want to do is you want to give them a real easy place to try first, and that's up this inside ramp. They're all going to crawl this way, thinking they're getting out, but they're not. They're getting into more trouble. They end up down this end, and now they are caught. All right, this design's been around about 100 years, and no one's come up with anything any better. And a lot of smart people have tried. They all sit directly on the bottom, and they have to sit this way. If they're upside down, they won't catch anything. And we have about 80 feet of water right here. This is called the kitchen where the food is. All right, this is the parlor down here where they wait for us to take them out. You want to stay in your seats while I'm on the traps, okay? So I'm afraid you're going to fall. These are rock crabs. We keep these too. And there is no legal minimum size on the crabs, but that's about it. Anything much smaller dishes you'd throw back. And you want to hold these things right by the hind legs. Anywhere else. And you wish you didn't do that. The spines will go through the glove and into your hand, and when you're going to pull them out, they just break off. You're going to dig it out with a needle. They have walking legs up underneath here. All right, they'll walk right up into the traps to get at the bait. Sometimes the trap's solid full. They have a mouth right in the center with 5 little teeth. They're closed right now. I'll go down this way.
Look at it. This crab was fighting with it.
Whether there's anything in it or not. All right, 3 1/4 inches. Keep it. Down over is a short, goes back. Maine has a double gauge, 5 inches. All right, if the carapace goes over 5, that's too big. And you have to throw that back too, and it's only in Maine. All right, and that's for breeding purposes. If you catch a female with eggs, and they would be here under the tail, mounded up, looks like caviar. All right, you have to throw her back too, but before you do that, take a knife out. All right, and if she doesn't already have one, you put a V-notch in this flipper right here, like a piece of pie. Cut a wedge right out of it, and you throw her back. Next year, she's caught, the eggs are all gone, all right, but that notch is still there. Okay, listen to this now. If you're a female lobster living in Maine, all right, and only in Maine, and you're lucky enough to get caught just once with the eggs, you ought to be able to die of old age. Everyone has to throw you back. From that day forward, you're protected by law. All right, and that's another conservation measure to keep enough females down on the bottom. It's just like affirmative action underwater. Catch a female, no eggs, all right, but this flipper's missing, or mutilated in any way at all, you have to throw that one back too. And that law prevents me from catching one with the notch when you're not around, just tearing the flipper off, keeping the whole lobster. Even when they shed their shell, the new shell is going to have that notch in it. All right, and I'll show you the difference between boys and girls in a minute. They're 10-legged. All right, the claws are considered legs, and this one's left-handed. Now the crusher claws on the left-hand side, see that they're different. This one's bigger and stronger. It's like a vice. They'll catch a crab, we'll say, and they'll smash the shell of it with this claw. All right, now the pincer, that's shaped more like a saw, like a fine-tooth saw. They'll tear the meat up like this into little chunks. The hands are right here. These two up front. They've got a set of vice grips in there for holding food. mouth's right down inside. I'm going to give it to you in a second. Get a closer look. Now their eyes are on stalks. They can move them all around. They can even see behind themselves because they have lousy vision, and that's why they have antenna. When they crawl on the bottom, they whip these things back and forth, and that's basically how they smell and feel. Now we're in what's called the shedding season. All right, shedding, and what that means is most of them are outgrowing their shells. They're in like a jacket that's too tight, and they have to get out of this thing. All right, so what they'll do is they'll start growing a brand new shell right inside of this one. And when the day comes that they shed, now the carapace will crack right here. The tail unhinges here. Now that whole lobster wiggles out backwards. Just like pulling a sweatshirt off. And that's everything. Claws, legs, antenna, tail. So what you have now is you have a perfect empty shell sitting here. All right, and the lobster's right next to it, and a brand new shell that eventually becomes one size bigger. Not now.
No.
That new shell is soft and rubbery. They feel just like raw liver. You can put your fingers in here. Is that where I was? See, I got lost. Yeah. They can't pinch, they're helpless. When they know they're going to shed, they'll get under a rock somewhere to hide, like around that island where we were. That's why all the traps are in there right now. They'll hide, they'll shed their shell, and now they're going to continue to hide for about a month. They can go that long without eating longer. They basically stay put until the new shell toughens up a little. When they eventually crawl out looking for food, if they're caught right away, now you have what's called a soft shell lobster. If you're going to come back here another week or two, you'll have that choice in fish markets, hard shell, soft shell. You pay less money per pound for a soft shell because you're getting a little less meat for your money. In other words, what you see isn't necessarily what you're going to get. The claw may be this big, but you'll find the meat inside is only about half that size, half that amount. They got caught too soon. They didn't have time to grow into that new shell. Right, the new shell in the beginning is like a sponge. It absorbs water right through itself and it bloats out, it stretches, kind of like a water balloon. Right, and then as it hardens up, that's the growth for the year. And this shedding season lasts all summer long, and that means the summer's a lousy time to fish. The real busy season's in the fall. And I'll tell you more about that in a few minutes. At this age, males shed once a year, females every other year. And as they get bigger, the process slows up. This one's about 9 years old. It takes roughly 7 years for a lobster to grow to that minimum size. And it's a male. These are called swimmerettes under here. They're kind of flat and feathery, shaped like a fan or a paddle. Now the top two swimmerettes on a male are bony. Okay, on a female, these two up here look just like the rest of these, but they're a little bit smaller. I'll bring them back after the show it to you. Where are we going to start? What's that? Rubber bands? Yeah, we'll show you how we do that later on. Okay, you have right around 8,500 licensed people on the Real Big Timer, right on down to another person who lives along the shore somewhere and has maybe 10 in a rowboat. When they want to catch and eat every once in a while, they'll haul them up by hand. Last year, the state said there were 2 million traps in the water in Maine, and the total catch was 30 million pounds. That's more than all the other New England states put together. The only place that catches more is Canada, Nova Scotia. And one reason they catch more is their minimum size is less times. Okay, during the winter, you're going to find early spring, they start crawling in towards land. That's what you do is you put the traps aboard your boat, one boatload at a time, run them out there, throw them overboard. Now, hopefully, you and the lobsters side by side are moving in. And you're catching them as they're crawling in towards land. All right, during the summer, you find them wherever it's shallow and rocky, like up the bay here. Good place to shed their shell and then go hide for a while. In the fall, when the shallow water gets cold again, they start crawling right back offshore, right, and that's when you make all your money. It's like the harvest. You'll do half your gross for the whole year, right in 3 months, October, November, December. Gradually, you're chasing them, and by Christmas, you're back out there 20 miles again. And that's when most people take a look around and they quit for the winter. Not because it's too cold, it's just too rough. You can't get that far offshore in little boats like this often. All right, so during the dead of winter, a lot of people rig their boats up with winches and nets and go dragging for shrimp. or scallops. And what we have up here are called Arctic shrimp, little pink ones. And that's something you can do up the bays here, where it doesn't get so rough. To be able to fish for lobsters, you have to be a resident of the state. The license costs $105 a year, and now you can have one trap or 10,000. Many as you want. Same license. And legally, you can put them anywhere you want. Legally, but in reality, you can't do that. Like, I'm from Bar Harbor, and I can only go so far that way. Winter Harbor is the next town down. And even though I can go over there legally, they don't want me down there. Right? They have ways of telling you that without actually coming right out and telling you that. It's kind of an agreement. You stay in your own backyard. This is Frenchman's Bay. All right, there's the mainland up ahead of us, and Cadillac Mountains, the high one on the right, behind you.